What is up, YouTube gang? Welcome back to another episode of V Talks. This is episode 17. Man, I feel like I'm on a roll here. So let's jump right into it. Today, I'm doing a commission for my guy on Instagram. I'm pretty sure it's Lone Key, and that's how I've been saying it anyways. And this is his Red Masked Man character, and I really like this character. I've drawn him a couple times, and I just like the design of him. But besides all that, right into it. Today, I'm going to be telling you guys another personal story of things I may have done in the past that weren't so noble. So today, I'll be talking about the time I beat up my roommate and gave him a black eye. I know that sounds awful. That sounds horrible. You're like, what? How could you do this? But let me explain my situation, and it'll maybe make a little bit more sense. This was also when I was younger. So I would not make the same mistake more than 3 times, at max. To preface this, my previous place that I was living in, I was living with my friend Charlie, my friend Colby, and his girlfriend Samantha. It was all going well and fine, but it just didn't work out between us, so I ended up moving out of that place. And I messaged my friend Casey. I said, hey, it's you and a bunch of guys in a house, right? Like, can I join you guys? And Casey's like, yeah, sure. It'll reduce everyone's rent and there's room. So I ended up moving out of Colby and Samantha's place and moving in with a bunch of guys. So my friend Casey, my friend Willie, Wesley, Byron, and then there was myself. So there ended up being like 5 of us in there or something like that. And so at the beginning, my rent was $350, I want to say. It was like somewhere around there, like $350 something. So starting off, it was really doable, you know. I had a decent space for a cheap price, and everybody else was like paying whatever rent theirs was. They had a weird system going on where if you had a better room, I guess you paid more. I don't really know how that worked because I had a whole living room and I was paying like $300, so I didn't understand their metrics. But besides the point, we go through and we're just hanging out for several months. A lot of it's going fine. I was working warehouse at the time. Actually, I was just working at Safe Truck for the entirety of the time I lived there, I'm pretty sure. So several months go by of us just living there, chilling. Wesley normally got the food. Casey and I normally just played games. You know, we would have game days and all that good stuff because we all had our computers downstairs. All was good until the Fire Nation attacked, right? So what happened was Wesley was the guy who pretty much would manage the money. He was the guy who would pay the bills, so to speak. It all went through him, and I didn't really question that because I was still kind of like new to living on my own, so I was like, whatever, it's fine. So eventually one of the days, Wesley comes up and tells all of us, you know, oh, rent got raised up. The entire house's rent was like $1,800 when I started, allegedly, and $1,800 divided by 5 shouldn't be $600, but you know, he said it was being raised up to whatever, and so I ended up, by the time I left the place, I was paying like $500 or almost $600 a month. And that would have made sense. Like, if somebody said, hey, you started living here and then rent got raised and you left and it was a little bit more money, that would make sense, okay? But here's the thing. What ended up happening was over the several months, going from that $300 to $500, I realized that it wasn't just me, you know, paying $500 at the end. Casey was paying about $600. I think Byron was paying about $600 and Willie was paying $500. So, you know, I'm not terribly great at math. I never was. That's why I draw and not do math. But I'm pretty damn sure that 5 plus 5 plus 6 plus 6 does not equal 18, nor does it equal 20, nor does it equal 21 or 22. Like, wait, does it equal 22? Okay, maybe it equals 22. But besides the point, our rent did not go from $1,800 to $2,200. Now, Byron was paying the internet. He had that settled. That was all him. That's not being factored in. Wesley did pay for the food, but if we look in, and how much is it that all of us are paying? If all of us were paying $2,200 just between me and the guys, what was Wesley's cut? If his cut was just food, our rent would supposedly have been over $2,500 a month because, you know, he would put in his part and then buy food, which I don't think that was the case. So before I beat him up, because this is just like a background thing that was going on without my knowledge. This was just kind of in the background simmering. So when I was working at Safe Truck, a lot of stuff was fine and good. I broke like the record there of making magnets, and that was one of the things I did there because I was tired of the boss telling me I was slow. So I said, tell me I'm slow when you can beat my record. I made like almost 1,600 magnets or something in a day. Like in like the best record they had up to date was like 11 or something. That was like the best they've ever had was 11, and I did like 1,600. I completely just destroyed that. So I just was tired of them like yelling at me or whatever. But after a while, they eventually switched managers, and the guy who was supposed to be doing shipping came over to my department, and he was a lot more strict, I guess, but I still had my old manager. So what this new manager was doing was paying very particular attention to me. And, you know, this is kind of my fault because I wasn't particularly fast at the job. I was like, you know, as long as I just get the job done, it's good enough. That's kind of my mentality when I'm working warehouse. It just kind of drains you. So I was like, whatever, it doesn't matter that much. So he was always on my ass about stuff. And then that kind of spurred the other manager to be on my ass about stuff. I would go to the bathroom and come out, and they're like, why were you in the bathroom for 10 minutes? It doesn't take you that long to be in the bathroom. You know, what are you doing? It's like, dude, it was just weird for me to like all of a sudden have like a lot more attention on myself because, you know, everybody else wasn't really singled out. And one of the days that just had me freaking infuriated. So one of my jobs was catching prints, like, you know, like the oversized load on the back of semis and stuff. We were printing banners like that, and I was catching those and putting them on a rack so they could dry out. And one of the duties for that job is to make sure when they're coming out, if there's any imperfections, put them off to the side so you can fix them later. And one of my bosses, Dan, he was telling me that I need to make sure every spare second I had when I wasn't catching, I was trying to fix these prints. And then the other manager, I think his name was Randy, he was telling me that I need to be standing right where I'm at, making sure 100% that none of those banners have any mess ups. Otherwise, by the time, because he's printing so freaking fast, by the time I catch the first imperfection, there's going to be 3 imperfections behind it because it's like a problem with the screen. So if you have one dot on like the first one, it transfers over to the second and the third until he fixes it. So I've had like hundreds of like mix-ups before in that job. But besides the point, I had one manager telling me one thing, the other manager telling me to do another thing, and they were both getting agitated at me when I wasn't doing both of those things at the same time, and I just got so pissed off. At lunch, I said, screw it. I went to the, I can't call him a store manager, a warehouse manager. His name was Ken. And I said, Ken, I'm leaving. And this was on Thursday. I said, I'm leaving and I'm going to see you Monday. And he said, what do you mean? I'm out. I'm done. I'll see you Monday. I'm taking a break. I don't care. You know, taking paid time off or unpaid time off. I'm just tired of this shit. So I was just pissed. So I went home, and within that weekend of like me just already simmering and just being upset, my friend Charlie, he's not a guy who lived with us, but he was always just slouching on my couch all the time. So my friend Charlie was over, and Wesley had a problem with Charlie sleeping on my couch all the time. And so it was my friend Willie's birthday. Willie was one of the guys who did live there. And we all had this plan that we were going to play games with him. And me and Charlie were playing games up in my room, but I was expecting them to come and get me, right? And they did not do that. And then somebody said, hey, we're all going to go get dinner. Let's go get dinner. And I said, okay. So we go and get dinner together, the whole house and Charlie. And Willie was upset when we were eating, and I could tell we were at the Mongolian Grill. And I was like, yo, Willie, you doing all right? And he's like, yeah, I'm just kind of upset that you didn't come to the party thing that we had set up. And I was like, well, fuck, why didn't anybody come get me? And like, I think what Wesley said or whatever was like, oh, we didn't come get you because we thought you were like having sex with Charlie up in your room. And I was like, are you freaking serious? Like, okay, so it's going to be like that. And I was already like just agitated. I was stressed out from the job. So them telling me they didn't come and get me to play with Willie because they thought I was doing some butt games with my friend Charlie, I was just like, hey, come on. Like I was just, So what I said, oh, it's gonna be like that. Okay. So I was just a little upset, petty upset, but I was still just angry. And then when I get home, there was like some other stuff, but people are just making gay jokes like the whole time, like, and I was just getting more and more agitated. And I know that I have nothing against gay people. It's totally fine to do that. It's just I don't like when my friends don't come and get me for a game because they're accusing me of sleeping with one of my friends. Like, obviously they meant it as a joke, but I don't know. Just the whole time I just wasn't taking it as a joke because I'd been bullied a lot in high school. So it was just reminding me a lot of those times of like when I used to just get bullied and stuff. So I was just more and more like, you know what, like this is just really pissing me off. And instead of talking about it like a reasonable human being, and this is after I found out that Wesley's been stealing everyone's money. It was like pretty much almost the same day, I think, that I like put it all together. So I had the job thing going on, I had the people making fun of me thing going on, and then I had the finding out the rent thing was like totally skewed for Wesley to live someplace for free while everybody else was paying for rent. So what ended up happening was I go downstairs and everybody's still down there. Willie and his girlfriend and Wesley and Casey and this guy named Jameson, everybody was down there, and I just started going off like, oh, okay, so we all think it's cool then to not invite your friends? Oh, okay, for sure, because they're gay then. Oh, so you're all homophobes then. Okay, I get you. So you think this is gay? And I was just like messing around with people. And then Wesley said something, like I was right next to him. He was sitting on the couch, I was standing up. And I was like, what? So it's gay to just have friends over then? And he's like, only when you have them over all the time. And I was like, so I can't have friends over whenever I want because I pay my side of the rent. And he was just like, well, no, because this is everyone's house. And like when he just said, well, no, like I just lost it. Like everything in my mind just went blank. Like you can't have friends over, as well as, I'm just gonna screw you on rent. I don't know, I just blacked out. I went rage mode. I was like, time to die. So I just socked him in the face. He like fell off the couch onto the floor, and then I just like jumped on top of him. And bear in mind, everybody's watching me. And then I just start punching him in the face, just like going ape shit. And at first, it went on for like the first second, and Willie was like, oh shit, whatever. And then like they realized I was actually beating the shit out of him, and they were like, oh fuck. So Willie got up and he was pulling me off of him, and everybody's like sitting there like, yo, what the fuck? And I was like, where the fuck is Byron? Because Byron was also saying some butt games jokes, and I was like, where the fuck is Byron? And they're like, yo, chill. And I had everybody in that place like scared of me for a while. It's not like I'm a vicious guy, I'm not trying to just murder people all the time, but I was just, the whole week of work just building up to pissing me off, and there's just too many things that were adding on. It wasn't just one thing, it was many things. So at the end of all of that, I did end up apologizing to Wesley, but I did decide to move out and quit my job all at the same time. And I was like, you know what? After having 2 different sets of roommates, I was just tired of all that shit. I'm just going to start going to college. I'm just going to start going to school because I'm not going to work warehouse jobs for the rest of my life and live with roommates that I end up beating up. And, it was just not going to happen for me. It wasn't working out. So that is how I got into doing actual schooling and stuff for graphic design. And you could say it's been a good change for me, even though I would not recommend beating people up. That's not the answer. Never was. I was just, not in the proper state of mind. But yeah, that's all I got. This is a long talk video for a short drawing video. I actually forgot to record a part of the drawing process. I apologize, but thank you guys for coming by and listening to my story of how I beat up my roommate. Thanks for coming, and I guess I'll see you guys on the next episode of V-Talks. See ya.